So I would like to say that actually it was Facebook chucking me off, but it wasn't. Instead of pressing send, I clicked the finish button, which isn't particularly helpful. So let me try tagging a few of you in again. Oh my goodness, talk about long-winded. I'm just gonna, that's better. I'm just gonna use the enter button. I'm not even gonna, Marcy, hello, my lovely. Hello. Good morning from Texas. If you were just on a second ago, I apologize because I just cut you off. I was gonna say, I'm just gonna make up a thing about it's Facebook chucked me off, but it wasn't. I pressed the finish button by accident. So that would be my fault. Me and technology recently are really not going down well at all, but I'm gonna battle through my weirdness. Linda, hello. Yeah, I'm just trying to track down who it was that I chucked off. But we will get there in the end. And I was just saying before I got chucked off, before I chucked myself off, sorry, is that I'm just hoping I don't have any more crazy weirdos like I did yesterday. Marcy, I don't know whether you were on yesterday, but oh my goodness, I was just, for everyone else, like I immediately messaged Joe and said, did that sound okay? Because I literally was completely, I was having a scatty day anyway, but I was completely put off my game and was just like, there's this weirdo messaging me really, really creepy messages. So it was very, very strange. So I'm just hoping, I'm ready to put to the block button, and I'm not going to press the finish button this time. I'm here. I'm staying away from that big red button. Marty, missed the weirdo. I wish you would have left the comments there to replay for infotainment. Once you block them, they all go. But I just thought, oh my goodness, it was just the weirdest. That you started off with the usual, oh my God, you're so beautiful. I assume that's how he speaks. I don't know exactly what his accent, origin, or whatever else was, but I just imagine that how he'd be saying it. Very strange, very strange. Nikki, hello, my lovely. I'm so pleased to see you on here. I've only tagged a few of you in because I'm trying to remember who has commented for the challenge, and I'm struggling. Even though, guys, there are many of you, and because before this has been, I'm just going to talk very quickly about this challenge in comparison to all the other challenges I've done in my Facebook group very briefly before I begin, because I'm used to having a more of a community, and so this, whilst I'm trying to build a community on my page, it's obviously still getting going, and it's still very different. It's still very much me and you consume, if that makes sense. So it's slightly more one-dimensional than my usual community environment that I still do love. So I'm missing, I will admit, I am missing that slightly, because when everyone else is doing it, it kind of G's you up. So I'm trying to be the motivation people, because at the end of the day, if you want to get the most out of this challenge, you're going to have to step up and participate. Don't sort of leave at the first hurdle. I am making this slightly challenging, and I am perhaps maybe pushing buttons by saying, oh, the tasks are easy, because day one was all about, you and looking at you. And by easy, what I mean is that you don't really have to go too far. All you have to do is look within, and you can ask for help from various different people, business buddies, even colleagues or family or whatever else, to help you identify those attributes and superpowers. But yeah, I know it can be difficult, guys, but if you genuinely want to make the most of this, physically partake, and also if you want to win the prizes, then you're going to have to be in it to win it. So please do use the hashtag #ExpertUnrivaled to make sure that you are getting those in, and you should be putting your entries onto the pinned post on my page, not these lives. Feel free to talk to me on my lives, don't ignore me, but you're meant to be posting your challenge responses onto the pinned post, which is at the top of this business page. So well done to everybody who partaken. I don't know what the right one is, who partook yesterday with the challenge, and there is still time to catch up. So if you're like, damn, I missed it, but I still want to be involved, you still can. Just post 2 comments today, or within one, and separate out the answers. You're all good. So you can just put that on there. So do take part, because you will, by the end of the week, have a compilation and a collection of all the lovely, juicy awesomeness that is you, that's going to be on there. So that's fantastic. Marcy says, simple, maybe not easy. Perfect explanation. Exactly it. Simple, maybe not easy. Thank you very much for that. No, of course, you took time off for Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to all my American friends. I hope you had a wonderful time. And yeah, I'm looking forward to you catching up and seeing your answers, Marcy. Today, Marcy, today's challenge, if you haven't already got the task, just make sure you sign up because you're going to love it. You're going to absolutely love today's task because it's all about brand. And I'm not talking visual identity. I'm talking about your brand values. And I'm going to talk to you a bit about why these are so important to helping you stand out. It's because it's what you stand for. It forms part of your core message. It forms part of what you want other people to associate with you. And it's truly, truly important because they're very unique to you. Like, you are your brand at the end of the day. And it's extremely important to make sure that you identify and draw out the things, because just like we can function as us, and just like, for instance, yesterday's task, we can all have these amazing attributes and qualities and superpowers. But if we don't put a label on it, it can be very hard to identify and put a spotlight on those things. So just like yesterday, by putting those main things out, labeling them and saying, hey, this is what I'm good at, it just adds the clarity. When you're able to put a label on things, it massively adds to the clarity that you have around what makes you so great. And so the same principles apply to this, and that is about identifying the brand values that you hold. And so I gave you the example, for instance, of courage as one of my values. And courage is extremely important to me because it's what I expect from myself. It's what I expect from my clients in order to achieve success. It's one of the key ingredients for people to achieve what they want, to, because it almost always comes back to sorry, in my words, I was just looking at Linda. You've got a lousy connection, but you're here. That's okay, lovely. I'm sorry that you're struggling, and get well soon, because I know you're a bit feeling under the weather today. So, get well soon, lovely. And Laura Dougal, hello, my lovely. Good to see you. So what was I saying? Getting in there. So this is it. Rule number 1 of lives. Don't stop midway through a sentence and say hi to people, because this is what happens, and it annoys everybody, because then you've got to try and pick up where you left off and you've completely forgotten what you were talking about. Brand values, identifying, putting a label on, it adds clarity. I'll get there in the end. It absolutely does add clarity to what it is that you want to pull out. So that was it. Courage. Got there. Rewinding. So courage is incredibly important because it really comes down to belief. That's where it was. So it really does come down to belief, because when you believe in yourself that you can achieve something, you've got to have courage in the first instance to have that belief. Like, that's very important. In order to believe that that's where you're going to go, you've got to build that courage to say, I can do this, and have that self-belief. And then once you've taken the courage to then say that I believe in myself and I can do this and achieve whatever goal it is that you set for yourself, you then need to take the courage to then take the steps. There's all very well believing it. Like, how many people do we know who say, oh yeah, I could do that if I wanted to, or I could do that, that's no problem. Well, why aren't you doing it then? Well, because actually doing it, taking those steps, is really hard, because it takes courage. Again, simple, you know how to do it, but it might not be easy, exactly as Marcy said. So, courage for me, that's what I expect from myself in order to achieve the heights that I want to achieve. And it's what I expect from my clients. So it's a very, very big part of my business and what I stand for. But it's all very well having these brand values, but unless you actually action them, like, this shouldn't be just part of a marketing ploy, because this is where you lose integrity. So, for instance, if I was preaching courage and saying courage is very important, you need to do that, and then I was always the last in line to do something, and don't get me wrong, and this is why courage is very important to me, is because something I've noticed in myself, whilst I'm very confident, whilst some people would probably put the extrovert label on me, and I generally seem to be particularly forthcoming, I also notice something in myself, that I'm kind of always the second person sometimes, not always, and I'm less so in the last year. I've actioned that that value, because I used to be second in line. So someone would say, okay, here's an opportunity, and I'd be sitting there and I'd be going, take the opportunity. And I don't know if anyone else resonates with this. And then someone will be brave enough to go, and I'll go, and then it's gone, and then I've missed it. So yes, I'm brave enough to a certain extent, but I need to get better, and I have been better, fortunately, over the last year, about just getting your ass up, putting your hand up and saying, I am taking that opportunity, even though it is bloody scary, and I'll be the first one to do it, and I might look like a fool, I might fail, I could end up with egg on my face and all of these other things. But, you know, the early bird catches the worm. And, you know, being the first takes courage. And so it's those kinds of things. But you've got to action it. If I wasn't that person who was living up to the standards of that value of courage, then it's all very surface level, and you will be found out. And it's not about saying, well, I'm not that now, so I won't put that down. It's about making a decision and saying, this is what I stand for, and actually looking at your business and saying, how am I, if this is important to me, like, I can't remember who it was, but one of my clients' biggest values is respect. And that is both respect for, because that was, I won't mention names just in case it goes over to confidentiality and whatever else, but I remember who it is because I remember what it was in conjunction with. And this person is very much into using your story to market yourself. And, you know, for her, respect was a big one. And, excuse me, just choking. Respect was a big one. And she said it from the point of view of, I am always there on time for other people. I respect time, and I expect my clients to be on time for me. So she makes sure that within her boundaries of her client agreements and things like that, that she makes it very clear that she expects people to be on time. And if you miss it, then you first of all, be respectful enough to let her know when you can. And if you miss those sessions or whatever else, then you forfeit them, and so on and so forth. So very clear boundaries on respect for her was very important, and also respecting somebody else's story for what it is, and respecting what they've been through, respecting on what kind of voice they wanted to have, and all of those kinds of things. So it's very much actionable, because we can put up these things on a wall and they're all very well and they're all great, but unless you're actually able to take them and say, how am I going to implement these throughout my business, they're pointless, and you will be found out. It's weak, it's lukewarm, and it just doesn't deliver any punch. So have a real think about, what does your brand stand for? And even if you're perhaps not fully living it now, this is where putting a label on things can really help you to say, okay, fine, perhaps I'm not living up to this value as fully as I can, but it is an important one. And today I make the decision that I am going to make sure that I live up to that value, and I take the action, and I do the things that I needed to do to live as that person who stands for that value. Because at the end of the day, you are your brand, and you need to make sure that your business is a reflection of you, what you stand for, and that you are congruent with what your business is doing, what you want for and from your clients, what you expect for and from yourself, and really lay those out. So this is why this is so important, because it massively helps you stand out. Because if you can find those values that really, really resonate with you, that you truly stand for, that you get really passionate about, and my client was super passionate about respect, super passionate about it. You've got to be passionate about what you stand for. Don't just pick the ones that look nice, or, well, that sounds good, so I'll use that. So it's a bit like, for me, integrity for me is another one. And again, I've even talked about it without realizing it in today's live. Like, integrity is so important. So pick the ones that really, really resonate with you. Otherwise, it is just going to make you this lukewarm version of yourself. Integrity is key to me, because it's about alignment, and it's about walking your talk, and it's about being real. Because like, I mean, those of you who have been in my Facebook community, you will see that time and time again, I will talk about my mistakes. I will talk about what's gone on and why I didn't think it worked and how I thought I could do better. And yes, you have to have you've got to have a boundary there somewhere. But I'm all about being real. I'm all about integrity and actually going, hands up, guys, I made a mistake. And actually, this is how I thought that this could have been done. And I think that you command way more respect that way. So again, it's looking at how you are actioning what you're doing and looking at how you're going to implement that through your business. Marcy says, this makes me think of those school dances where everyone is standing on the wall and no one wants to be the first one on the floor. Yeah, exactly. And, you know, it takes courage because, you know, we're born followers. It's taking that brain and going and that amygdala and saying, no, like if I want to evolve and I want to be the person who is at the top, then I'm going to have to do things outside of what everybody else is doing. And that's what this challenge is all about. It's about stepping up and doing the things that other people are not doing. It's about being as you can possible, but by doing it first, by not being afraid to be you, by putting yourself out there and standing up for what you believe in, which is very much to do with your brand values, then you will stand out amongst the crowd. And the other thing that it does is that it's the Simon Sinek saying of people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And so your values will be very much connected to that passionate why, which we'll be coming back to on a different day of the challenge. I won't say which because it's going to be a surprise. But it's about looking at your passionate why and how the brand values kind of, you know, connect and are congruent with those with that as well, because people are going to resonate and get on board with those values because they're like, oh, you know, people have shared values. That builds an incredible bond, and that is how you build an incredible following of amazing ideal clients who are all on the same mission as you, all on the same hymn sheet, all on the same foundational values. It is so important to creating your following. So that's yet another reason why brand values are so important, because it really is connected to that passionate why and making sure that, you know, people really, really have that want, like, you know, they're like, yes, I believe in what you believe. So for instance, I'm hoping the majority of you who are watching this live today will be watching this and going, yes to courage, yes to integrity. I think that's important as well. And anybody who doesn't really resonate with that way of being will disappear. And that's also a great thing, because it's about standing out and actually making a splash and a dent in the world so that you can kind of part the seas in terms of your potential clients. Because out of your market, that big pool of people, you don't want to be necessarily, particularly at the beginning stages before you're a billionaire, let's just put it into perspective here, before you make it to the true mass market, you need to be appealing to these subsections. And even then, it's like that example, again, just to reference Simon Sinek for the second time in the same live. If you haven't watched his TED Talk, it's absolutely amazing. And that would actually be very relevant to today's task as well. So I would absolutely go and have a little look at that, the Golden Circle, I think it's called. But it's very good. And in there, he goes through, you know, Apple as a brand and how, you know, actually it's the early adopters that get everyone stupidly excited, because they're the ones that are waiting out, you know, like 24 hours outside, queuing outside and camping in a queue outside the shop, ready to get the new iPhone, which is actually available the day after, where you could just walk in and buy it off the shelf straight away. But they want to be the first people because they're the early adopters, and those are the people that you want to bring on board, because it spreads that, you know, that infectious stickiness to your brand. You want the people who are super passionate about what it is that you do. And actually, you know, when you hit the mass market, you know, people buy, for instance, a phone because it's kind of like, it's the only one. It's a bit, oh no, that was it. He used the example, sorry. it's slightly mixed up, but it does make sense. So in terms of like phones, for instance, you've got the button phones that we used to have. And then you've obviously got the smart screen phones. The only reason people have kind of got those smart screen phones now is because they're the only ones available. But they're kind of like the late adopters. And I'm not even sure this is Simon Sinek anymore. Who knows who it is? But this is something that I've obviously absorbed from somewhere. But those are the people who do it because it's kind of like, well, I've got to do it. But actually, those are the types of people who you don't necessarily want to be attracting. Inevitably, you'll get those in the end. But the people who you want to be attracting are those passionate early adopters who are super on board with your mission and who desperately, absolutely love what it is that you do. And the only way that's going to happen is if you stand for what you value. Hello, right. Marcy, you're so amazing. She's in there with putting the talk link in. Thank you so much. Laura, I'm glad I love that talk too. It is an incredible one. It is an incredible one. And Linda's put integrity down as the top brand item. See, great minds, Linda. You know, this is how we all attract each other. And Marcy says, I've just switched my own group up to being VIP in nature. Love that. It's now by invitation only. Not going to lie, when I removed those that didn't go through the application process, it was really scary. It is really, really scary. And I don't know whether you've seen my message today with the task on it, but I talked about that as well. It's taking that courage to do what you know is strategically best for your business. But it still pulls on the heartstrings when you do it, but you know it's the right decision and you just got to do it. So that's what I want you to do. It's all very well having your brand values, but let's look at how you're going to implement those values and pull that through as the underpinning foundation to your business, and how you're going to communicate as well. If you want to take it a step further, look at how you're going to communicate that to your clients and how everyone kind of understands and is on board with what it is that you stand for. So there we go. That's me. Hi, Colleen. Is Colleen joined? And I've not seen anything from her. Bernadine, hello, my lovely. I didn't even see you there. Well, thank you so much for joining. And I hope you guys have enjoyed it and it's been useful for you. And check out tomorrow, similar time between 10 and 10:30 GMT. I will be sending out the next challenge. If you've not got there yet and done it, doesn't matter, just catch up. But unless you've done the whole challenge with the hashtag, you will not be eligible for any prizes. Prizes are, the second prize is either my Up Level on Fire self-study or my Expertology self-study, which I will decide when we speak to each other which one is more suited to you, because I don't want to give you something you're not going to do anything with, because that makes absolute no sense. And first prize is a laser coach session with me, no promo zone. So you will get pure value from me. So those are the prizes. They're amazing, extremely valuable. So if you do want to win them, then make sure you are in it to win it. So there we go. I am excited. There we go. Right, I think we're finished. I'm going to go. I'm not going to ramble anymore. But I'm really looking forward to seeing everybody's answers on the pinned post in the group, not on my live, on the pinned post in the group. Go and put down the challenge responses as a comment, and you can also record a video as well. I don't think it will let you go live, but you can record it as a video if you want to do a video, 2 minutes max please, or you can just use text comments and just put them in the thread. And I'm looking forward to seeing them. Have a fabulous rest of the day, and I will see you again tomorrow. Take care. Bye bye.